Hey there, travel enthusiasts! Ready to pack your bags and explore the world? Of course you are. Who needs pants anyway, am I right? Today we're counting down the top 10 most visited cities in the world for 2024. And trust me, you won't believe which city snagged the #1 spot. It's not Cleveland, I can tell you that much. We're talking bustling streets, iconic landmarks, and enough cultural experiences to fill 1,000 Instagram feeds. Get ready for some serious wanderlust, folks. So buckle up, grab your passport, and let's jet set our way around the globe. Coming in at #1, it's the City of Angels itself, Bangkok, Thailand. Known for its vibrant street life, delicious food, and ornate temples, Bangkok is a feast for the senses. And when I say feast, I mean it literally. You haven't lived until you've tried authentic pad thai from a street vendor at 3 a.m. Don't judge, we've all been there. But Bangkok isn't just about indulging in culinary delights. It's also home to some of the most impressive temples in the world, like the Wat Arun, with its towering spires covered in colorful porcelain. Seriously, this place is like Disneyland for architecture nerds. And you know what? I'm kind of an architecture nerd now that I think about it. Speaking of impressive, Bangkok is also home to the world's largest gold Buddha statue. That's right, a Buddha made entirely of solid gold. I'm talking 5.5 tons of pure gold, folks. You could probably buy a small island with that much gold. Or, a really nice car. But beyond the glitz and glamour, Bangkok is a city of contrasts. You can find peaceful temples tucked away on quiet streets, bustling markets overflowing with exotic goods, and rooftop bars with stunning views of the city skyline. It's a city that truly has something for everyone, whether you're a foodie, a history buff, or just looking for an adventure. Or, if you just really like gold Buddhas. Our next stop takes us to the City of Love, Paris. Ah, Paris. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the romantic strolls along the Seine. It's enough to make even a cynical late-night talk show host like myself a little bit mushy. But here's a fun fact you might not know. Paris has more dogs than children. That's right, folks, forget the City of Love. This is the City of Canines. And honestly, I get it. Who needs kids when you can have a furry little croissant-loving companion to share your baguette with? Just try not to step in any, while you're admiring the architecture. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jimmy, Paris is just a bunch of croissants and Instagram influencers taking pictures in front of the Eiffel Tower. And while you're not entirely wrong, Paris is so much more than just its most famous landmarks. It's a city with a rich history, incredible art and culture, and some of the best food in the world. You could spend weeks exploring all the museums, art galleries, and historical sites that Paris has to offer, or, you could just eat your weight in pastries. No judgment here. But whatever you do, make sure to take some time to simply wander the streets and soak up the Parisian atmosphere. It's a city that truly gets under your skin and stays with you long after you've left. Alright, coming in at #3, we've got London, England, land of the Queen, warm beer, and those fancy lads in red suits who guard Buckingham Palace. London's got its fair share of iconic symbols like Big Ben, and those red telephone booths that nobody uses anymore. But let's talk about something truly impressive, those black cabs. These drivers have to pass the knowledge, the world's hardest geography test. Imagine memorizing every single street, landmark, and pub in London. Try telling that to a London cabbie. Now, London's not all about stuffy cab drivers and their impressive memories, it's also home to some pretty cool stuff. You got your Buckingham Palace, where you can wave to the Queen, and then there's the Tower of London, which used to be a prison, but now it's just a tourist trap. Speaking of tourist traps, you can't forget about the London Eye. It's that giant Ferris wheel that gives you a great view of the city, assuming it's not too foggy out, which, let's be honest, is like 90% of the time. But hey, that's London for you. London's got a certain charm. Maybe it's the history, maybe it's the accents, or maybe it's just the pubs on every corner. And hey, if you're ever lucky enough to snag a ride in one of those black cabs, be sure to tip your driver. Next up at #4, hold on to your hats, folks, because we're heading to Dubai, the land of sunshine, sand, and more money than you can shake a stick at. Nothing screams "look at me," quite like the Burj Khalifa. This skyscraper is so tall it practically tickles the clouds. Forget your Crown Vics. In Dubai, the cops roll around in Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Bugattis. Imagine getting pulled over by a cop in a car that costs more than your house. But hey, at least you can tell your friends you got pulled over by a Lamborghini. Okay, so maybe Dubai's not all about flaunting its wealth. They do have some pretty cool stuff beyond the supercars and skyscrapers. For example, did you know they have an indoor ski slope in the middle of the desert? It's like they said, we've got unlimited money. What can we do that's completely absurd? And if skiing in the desert isn't your thing, don't worry. They've also got those man-made islands shaped like palm trees. You know the ones. They're visible from space. I guess when you run out of land, you just make some more. It's good to be rich. But hey, even with all the over-the-top extravagance, Dubai's got a certain charm. Maybe it's the year-round sunshine, the beautiful beaches, or the fact that you can buy a gold-plated iPhone case on every corner. Whatever it is, Dubai's an experience you won't forget. Just be prepared to empty your bank account. And if you see a Lamborghini in your rearview mirror, just pull over. It's probably just the pizza delivery guy, but you don't want to risk it. Alright, coming in at number 5, we've got Singapore. This place is so clean you could practically eat off the streets. And you know what? They'd probably fine you for littering if you dropped a crumb. Seriously, Singapore is famous for its cleanliness. They banned chewing gum, folks. Chewing gum, can you imagine? I guess they figured it was just too risky, what with people sticking it under park benches and all. But hey, it's not all rules and regulations in Singapore. They also have a sense of whimsy, which brings us to the Super Tree Grove. These giant, futuristic trees look like they're straight out of a science fiction movie. They're covered in plants and flowers, they light up at night, and they even have a walkway so you can stroll among the treetops. It's like something out of Avatar, but without the blue people and the weird ponytail things. Now I know what you're thinking. Jimmy, Singapore sounds great and all, but I'm not sure I can handle a week without chewing gum. Well, fear not, my friend, because Singapore has plenty more to offer than just pristine streets and glowing trees. For starters, they have amazing food. And I'm not just talking about fancy Michelin-starred restaurants, although they have plenty of those too. I'm talking about hawker centers, these open-air food courts where you can find delicious and affordable dishes from all over Asia. And if you're looking for something a little more high-end, Singapore has some of the best shopping in the world. From luxury boutiques to department stores, you'll find everything your heart desires, and maybe even a few things you didn't know you needed. So, yeah, Singapore may be a little strict on the littering, but trust me, it's worth a visit. Just pack some breath mints and be prepared to be amazed. And hey, if you see anyone chewing gum, just look the other way. We don't want to get you deported. Alright, we're heading over to the East Coast, to the city that never sleeps, unless you're on the subway at 3 a.m., New York City. Now, New York's got more pizza joints than therapists, and trust me, you'll need both after navigating Times Square. But beneath all the hustle and bustle, there's a secret hidden right under one of the fanciest hotels in the world. That's right, folks, the Waldorf Astoria, where they probably charge you $10 for a glass of tap water, has a secret train platform hiding in its basement. They call it Track 61. And it was used by VIPs like FDR to get around discreetly. Can you imagine rolling up to a meeting in your own private train car? Talk about avoiding traffic. I bet they even had little peanuts and those tiny bottles of booze down there. Now, you can't talk about New York without mentioning those iconic yellow cabs. They're like oversized bumblebees buzzing around the city. But guess what? There are more taxis in New York than there are grains of sand on Coney Island Beach. Okay, I made that up, but you get the point. There are a lot of them. And speaking of a lot of something, New York has over 800 languages spoken throughout its 5 boroughs. That's more languages than a UN conference on caffeine addiction. So if you ever find yourself lost in translation, just hail a cab. They'll get you where you need to go. Just make sure you've got the cash, because those meters run faster than a rat on a cheese hunt. Next up, we're jetting off to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, home to the Petronas Towers, the world's tallest twin skyscrapers. Now, these towers are so tall, they make the Empire State Building look like a Lego set. And get this, they're connected by a sky bridge on the 41st and 42nd floor. That's right, you can walk between these two behemoths, hundreds of feet in the air. Just try not to look down, unless you want to see your lunch again. And speaking of lunch, Kuala Lumpur is a foodie paradise, with street vendors selling everything from spicy noodles to delicious satay skewers. But it's not all skyscrapers and street food in KL. Venture outside the city, and you'll find ancient rainforests teeming with wildlife. We're talking monkeys swinging through the trees, exotic birds singing their hearts out, and maybe even a tiger or two if you're lucky, or unlucky depending on how you look at it. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can even go spelunking in the Batu Caves, a series of limestone caves that are home to Hindu shrines. Just watch out for the monkeys. They're notorious for snatching food and sunglasses. And trust me, you do not want to be caught in a staring contest with a macaque. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to land in Istanbul, the only city in the world that straddles two continents, Europe and Asia. That's right, you can have breakfast in Europe and dinner in Asia without even needing a passport. Talk about convenient. And Istanbul isn't just geographically diverse, it's a melting pot of cultures, with influences from the Byzantine and Ottoman empires. You can wander through ancient mosques, haggle for souvenirs in the Grand Bazaar, or sip Turkish coffee while watching the sunset over the Bosphorus Strait. Speaking of coffee, Turkish coffee is seriously strong stuff. It's like drinking a shot of espresso that's been brewed with a double dose of caffeine. But don't worry, if coffee's not your thing, Istanbul has plenty of other treats to tantalize your taste buds. From the sweet, sticky delight of baklava to the savory flavors of Turkish delight, there's something for everyone. And no trip to Istanbul would be complete without a visit to a traditional Turkish bath, or hammam. It's the perfect way to relax and rejuvenate after a long day of exploring this incredible city. Just be prepared to get scrubbed down by a stranger. Hey, when in Rome or Istanbul, as the saying goes. Coming in at number 9, it's Tokyo, Japan. Now, I've heard a lot about Tokyo, like apparently you can get sushi that's actually fresh there, not the stuff that's been sitting in a gas station fridge for a week. But that's not even the craziest part. What's really nuts is their vending machines, folks. We're not talking your average bag of chips and a lukewarm Coke here. No, sir. These things dispense everything but the kitchen sink. Hot meals? Check. Umbrellas? Check. Underwear? Okay, maybe not underwear, but you get the idea. It's like a 24/7 convenience store, but instead of a cashier judging your late-night ramen choices, it's just you and a robot. And you know what? I kind of respect that. Tokyo, you keep doing you. Just promise you'll send some of those vending machine engineers to America, yeah? Now, if you're heading to Tokyo, you gotta check out Shibuya Crossing. Imagine Times Square. But instead of creepy Elmos trying to sell you a CD, it's just a sea of humanity crossing the street all at once. Seriously, it's like someone yelled, "Free ramen!" And everyone in a 5-mile radius decided to go for it. They say it's the busiest intersection in the world, and frankly, I believe it. I just hope they have a good traffic cop on duty because I wouldn't want to be the one directing that mess. Excuse me, sir. Yes, you in the Godzilla costume, could you just scoot to the left a little? Thanks. But hey, maybe that's the beauty of it, right? Just pure, organized chaos. It's enough to make a guy want to book a flight right now, just to say he's been part of that madness. Rounding out our top 10, it's Hong Kong. Now, I've never been to Hong Kong, but I've seen enough Jackie Chan movies to know two things. One, they have amazing food stalls, and two, they've got skyscrapers coming out the wazoo. Seriously, folks, this city's got more skyscrapers than any other place on Earth. I'm talking buildings so tall they could probably see into the future, or at least across the border into mainland China, which, let's be honest, is probably just as impressive. And you know what? I kind of love that about them. They're not afraid to build up, reach for the sky, maybe even tickle a cloud or two. Here in America, we're still arguing about whether or not to put up a stop sign on Main Street. Hong Kong's out there playing architectural Tetris, and I gotta say, they're winning. Now I know what you're thinking, Jimmy. All those skyscrapers must make for one expensive city. And you know what? You're not wrong. Hong Kong can be a little pricey, but hey, that's the price you pay for living in a vertical paradise, right? Besides, they more than make up for it with their incredible food scene. We're talking dim sum, folks. Delicious little dumplings filled with all sorts of savory goodness. And don't even get me started on the noodles. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. So, if you're looking for a city that's got it all, Stunning views, world-class shopping, and food that'll make your taste buds sing. Hong Kong might just be the place for you. Just be prepared to shell out a few extra bucks. Or yuan, I guess. So, there you have it, folks. The top 10 most visited cities in the world for 2024. From the bustling streets of Bangkok to the skyscraper-studded skyline of Hong Kong, these cities offer something for everyone. Which one are you adding to your travel bucket list? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more travel fun. Safe travels.